everyone, this is Jane, and I wanted to give you a really brief introduction into how to read an astrology chart. And this is very quick and basic, but I do want to encourage you that this is so easy to learn, and you can pick it up quite fast. It is not a process of having to memorize much, although you will do so over time, because you can look everything up. There are resources both in books and online where you can begin to learn concept after concept after concept and just build your comfort and awareness and familiarity with basic astrology. So I'm going to show you my key to reading an astrology chart and give you some more instructions with that.
So here's a key to reading your chart, and I will also post this in the blog post so that you can see it more clearly than in this video. But what I'd like to share with you so that the chart to a new beginner is not intimidating is a little bit about how to decipher this diagram. So most charts, there are some variations, but most astrology natal charts will have the circle in the center, surrounded by 12 numerals, which are labeling 12 pie sections. Those are the houses, and each one has a different arena in your life that it represents or contains, and I will also put a list of what that means in the blog post. So when you look at that center in the circle and then you see the 1 and go to your left, that first pie section is bordered by your ascendant, and the minute that you were born determines the degree in the solar system or zodiac where you have, I believe it's the horizon hitting the zodiac, but in my case, in this example that I use for the key, my ascendant is 17 degrees Sagittarius. Now, how I know that, if it wasn't labeled a bit, is through the keys to your right with the symbols or glyphs. So the signs come first, and Sagittarius is represented by an arrow because the symbol for Sagittarius is a centaur that is shooting an arrow. And that area of the chart is labeled with an AC for ascendant. It's also referred to as a rising sign at times. Now, if you look at the opposite side of that line, which almost seems to be demarcating the horizon, you'll see the initials DC, and that stands for the descendant. And it will always be the same degree, 17 degrees, of the opposite sign from your ascendant. So my descendant is Gemini. And we move around these houses counterclockwise. So that point of the descendant begins or is the cusp of the 7th house of relationships. And typically speaking, although not every time, we are looking for that sign as something that we are very attracted to partnering with. Often someone's sun or moon will fall in that sign or house. And then if you look down at the bottom, it says IC, and that is referred to as the nadir. And then if you look up at the top, it says MC. Now, depending on the house system, that may be straight up and down, or in this case, they have moved it a little bit, and I'm not actually sure why. But there's always things to continue to study and find out. We will never know everything that's available to know about astrology. We keep moving forward. The MC stands for the midheaven. The midheaven is the beginning or cusp of your 10th house of career. It also, according to Alyssa Sharp, is the sign that we determine sort of how we act in our internet online persona. So my midheaven is in Libra. The descendant is the cusp of our fourth house of home and often shows a little bit about what our childhood was like. And my IC is Aries, or that's what we would determine from this chart. Then what I want to point out is the signs all are done in 4 different colors representing 4 different elements. And the fire signs in this case are red, starting with the Sagittarius I pointed out at my ascendant. And then if you continue around after 3 signs, you'll get back to fire, and that'll be Aries. And after 3 more signs, you'll get back to fire, and that'll be Leo. Now, if you notice in my chart, the blue signs, which are water, have a planet in each of them and lines connecting them that create an equilateral triangle. My sun is in the 11th house and the sign of Scorpio, which is a water sign, and that is trining both Jupiter in Cancer in my 7th house and Saturn in Pisces in my 3rd house. And then Saturn and Jupiter are trining each other as well. That is referring to aspects which are significant distances between planets. The reason why we call it trine is that it does create these triangles, but it's also showing that when planets are in the same element, they work well together. They're supportive, there's a flow, that I have something in all 3 water signs, but also within the degree differences that would be close enough to be considered significant. My Jupiter at 1 degrees, my Sun at 4 degrees, and my Saturn at 10 degrees means that I have a very lucky aspect pattern and luck in my life in the relationship between those planets. When you see red lines, those are challenges when it is directly opposing 2 signs, and that's called an opposition. In this case, near my midheaven, I have Uranus and Pluto in Virgo opposing my Saturn in Pisces in the 3rd house. And then that opposition, the planets on either end of that opposition are squared to my ascendant and my moon and Mars and Venus, all in Sagittarius right there on the ascendant. So this triangle is referred to as a T-square, and that indicates significant karmic lessons. So I have good luck and bad luck, quote unquote, in my chart. In order to figure out the planets, again, look at the key and look up each symbol, and you'll be able to memorize or label any chart and decipher which planets are where. And the same with then you would say the moon is in the 12th house in Sagittarius. So you're going to pick out the planet, you're going to pick out what house it's in, and you're going to pick out what sign it's in. And then you can go to any number of books, blogs, websites, and begin to decipher piece by piece by piece. I really think of astrology as something of a story problem. So good luck, and let me know if you have questions.